But this week is buttons and apparently quilting material. I have to watch it again because I don't remember her saying that you had, part of the prompt was quilting material, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to do that, but I have to watch that again. But buttons was what caught my attention. And so I had gotten these from Peachy Cheap. They're the Prima wooden buttons. And I was so tickled when I saw Anne post this because I was like, yes, I finally get to use those. And so, yeah, that's what I'm going to work on for that. And I already picked out my buttons. So what I've got going is I took apart a quilt. You guys remember this from some of my other tags, and it had this thin batting in it, so I have batting to use, and I'm going to quilt it. And then today I gutted some more of it, and there'll be a more in-depth tutorial on this, separate video for this, but this is half a block. So I took the block apart, and then I cut the block, the singles, these 4x4 squares, into 4 pieces. And then I'm going to quilt them back together to make a cover for my tag. And I have all these buttons picked out, and I was going to do, originally, I'm going to do some kind of lacy flower thing. And what originally I thought about doing was something like this at the, where's the tag? Here's the tag. Okay, so you got your tag, right? So I thought about putting a key with a lock above it and then having button flowers come out. But as you can see, it's ginormous, so that's not going to work. And so I found these book plates, and I thought I could either use this one. I'll probably use this one as the window basket for the flowers, and then I'm going to use some kind of lace or ribbon. These are the ribbons and stuff I want to use to make stems, and then I don't know how all of this is going to go on. I have these butterfly buttons that I thought would be fun to incorporate in here. The biggest mistake I made was these tiny tags. I wish I had used my bigger tag because, it's constraining. But that's probably a good thing. But these will work out to be like centers of flowers that, like, you get it? Yeah. And so we'll figure out, I have a heart one. I have like these, I don't know what shape that is, one. And so, like I said, we'll see. I don't know where this is going, but you get the idea. And so that's the journal idea of what I'm going to do. So, I could make a stem out of this. There's this cording here that I could make a stem out of. I have these laces. I also have these laces that are in the shape of flowers that could maybe go on there. I have this that kind of reminds me of a rose garland type thing. All I know is there'll be lace on there. There's this also that could make a thicker stem. Yeah, I had originally thought I might do some of this in the background. I probably won't, but I don't know for sure. Anyway, so that's the project. That's my 52 handmade, 52 tags handmade challenge prompt for week 6 buttons and quilting apparently, but we'll figure that out when we get there. So that's So I just spent the last 30 minutes talking to nobody because I forgot to push the record button for the voiceover. I am skilled. There's no way you can master that skill, so don't even try. Okay? Yeah. All right. So I had this brilliant idea that I would make a quilt block to go behind my buttons, my bevy buttons. And so I spent, I don't know, an hour and a half, 2 hours picking apart a quilt, cutting apart a quilt, reforming the quilt into blocks, sewing that quilt back together and making it, all fit for the tag. And in the end, yeah, you can't even see it. All this work. Go me. I'm telling you, it's a skill. Overachievement is a skill it also bites you in the butt almost all the time. So, but I do have to say that I really, really enjoyed this. As much as you can't see the final product, I know it's there, and I went through the process of making it, and every quilter out there is going, oh, sister, that's bad. And I know it is, but you know what? I'm okay with it, because I'm going to cut most of it off. And in the end, all of this, don't worry, will be completely hidden by the bevy of buttons.
It's 11 o'clock.
It's 11 o'clock, because I don't know if I can mute that and still record. So, I'm sorry. Anyways, I did this whole block, right? Pinned it together, got it all pretty. Hey, my center points match. Does that count? That point, that counts, right? That's important. Anyways, I sewed all this together. One of the things I did get to do is I did sewing machine quilt it with my stitches way too close, because I don't know how to work my sewing machine. But I was really proud of the fact it worked. I've had an itch to do this. I want to do it on paper and make a tag, a quilted tag with paper this way, but I just haven't done it. So maybe that's the thing. Should we have a tag challenge that do a quilt out of paper on a tag, a bigger tag, not these little tags? What do you think? Should we do that? I don't know if anybody's even watching that does paper. Anyways, maybe I'll do that. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write that down. Hold on. Hold that thought. Quilt tag, right? Okay, quilt tag. Yeah, I spelled it wrong. Anyways, so I made this whole thing, sewed around it, got it all beautiful. I'm so proud of it. I'm like, look at it. It's going to be awesome. And then I freaking cover the whole thing up. That's right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, quilt. Wow. Foresight. Yeah, foresight. Anyways, and it still didn't occur to me till the very, very end when I was taking the pictures that it was like, why did I do that quilting? There's nothing left. Oh, well, I know it's there. So I went through it, and I'm kind of leaving this in because I want you to show that I did it wrong. I have not made ribbon flowers in forever, and so I couldn't remember the process of how you take. By the way, hot glue doesn't stick to these wooden buttons from Prima. You have to kind of sand it off. Yeah, which, happy accident. Anyways, I just could not remember. I was being lazy, so I didn't go look it up, of course, because YouTube and Google tell you everything. How did we function before YouTube and Google? Yeah, I would pay for Google and YouTube if I had to, because they're my life. Anyways, so I did Pokey Tool, Stephanie. Pokey Tool. She's not watching this, I'm sure. But anyways, so I went to all this work, and I hot glued it, and I ruffled it as it goes around, and I hated the end result of it, but I left it because I ain't got no time for that, of taking it all apart again. But the light bulb does eventually go on how you actually do the ribbon backing for something like this. You sew it. Duh. You run your little thread through, you pull it tight, and poof, it makes it round. I just couldn't remember that. I just haven't done stuff like this in forever, and you get out of it because, like I said, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, I decided, that's it, I'm done with paper. I'm done with all of that. All I'm going to do is journal. I'm not doing anything else. And for 5 or 6 years, that's all I did. And I apparently needed a break because I am back full tilt with this creating stuff, and I'm having a blast. Yeah, ta-da! So I thought it would be, really cool, and it's not, but we're gonna go with it. It's okay. See, here's where the light bulb goes on, and I go, if I just run a string through the back of it, normal, it turns it into this little round circular thing, and look, duh. So that's what I did. Hold on, drink. It's water, not a martini. So, yeah, so sewed this together terribly. Don't look. Oh, stitchers beware. And then we're gonna sand it, because again, it doesn't stick. It doesn't stick. And this glue is not super hot. It sticks really well. It's just not super hot. I don't know. There's no directions. And but yeah, and squish. And so boom, flower number 2 is done. Right? We're getting there. Now see, I should have just stopped at a few. I made another one. I didn't thread any strings. How lazy, right? So I just used whatever I had on. Don't look. Just don't look. I should have stopped on like just a couple of these. But bevy, I don't know what bevy means. I'm assuming it's English or Australian slang, whatever. It's cool. I like it. But bevy, in my opinion, meant a whole crap ton, right? And so I had to squish as many as I possibly could. And then I remembered, I took a picture. How did I have those on there? Because I couldn't figure out what I did. That's embarrassing. And then they didn't match because, of course, when you add the lace and stuff, things don't fit the same. And then I forgot what I was doing, and I made 3 lace flowers instead of 2. And, seriously, plans, I don't freeform. I don't freeform. And here's my little sign thing I made, which you won't be able to read, but it does say Garden of Friends, and I thought that was very fitting. I'll tell you why at the end, because I'll read the back to you, and you can see. Right? But see how much quilt is left? Seriously, why? It still hadn't occurred to me, and I'm going to fuss with this for a little while, because it's a script. Let's just take a picture. That's where it's going all down, right? It's just going down. And I had to look to make sure I was video recording. I'm watching this with you guys. All right, so I took this twine. I think I got it at Dollar Tree. I use it in the garden, but it looks really cool on projects too. So, yeah, and I tied together 5 strands, and I somehow, while tying it together, ended up with 6 strands, which actually worked out because I had 6 buttons, and I apparently can't count because I was only going to put 5 strands because I'm quick like that. And so I made a bouquet of flowers. They were supposed to be coming out of a flower pot, but the more I looked at it, the more I was like, it doesn't look like a flower pot. So I thought maybe I should probably change it a little bit. And I like the little bits and bobs hanging out the bottom. In the end, it worked out great because you'll see, it turned out really cute. I think it turned out really cute. Okay, so we're going to Wonder Clips. Wonder Clips are a wonder. I love Wonder Clips. Do you use Wonder Clips? I got them on Amazon. They're in my shop on Amazon, I think. If not, I'll put them there. Again, it's an affiliate link, yada, yada, yada. You know the story. Don't buy. I don't care. But it's all in one place. Otherwise, it takes me like forever to list all the things that I talk about because people are always like, where'd you get that? Where'd you get this? And so I've just been dumping them in my Amazon shop. So, yeah. That's where it all is. That's the magic. I'm working for 2 cups of coffee this year. Last year I made 1 cup of coffee. It was a fancy cup, but it's really hard to get good coffee without dairy in it. So it was okay. So this year I thought I'd go for 2, and instead of maybe coffee, I thought I'd go maybe for some sushi without fish. We'll see. Two cups of coffee this year on Amazon. Yeah, because people are like, "Oh, you get rich off that." Yeah, cup of coffee, $13 and change, I think, is what I made last year. Yeah, don't get excited. Anyways, so this is the plan. Okay, I cut out a whole bunch of this because I had this brain fart that said, "Hey, let's add like green cross stitch and stuff." Oh, gray hair. My bad. Gray hair. I should crop that. Don't look. Gray hair. Granny hair, and I'm 9 in a month. 49 in a month. Anyways, I decided I was going to add all the green stitching around the twine to make it look like reminiscence of leaves. So I did it for like 3 of them, and then what I found is because the area is so small, it just turned into a fuzzy mess. And so I literally cut all of the green off of it once I got it all sewed on there. So I just cut that part out. And so that's what the green thread is. So just ignore that. It doesn't make it. It doesn't make the final cut. Its auditions failed. And so we cut that part out of the movie. But here we go, sewing all this stuff on, and use a really sharp needle, because I started out with a really dull needle because I'm really bad about, even though I have a needle keeper now, I put crap needles with good needles and then forget which one's the good one. And yeah, see, there's where I got, now ignore it. But it does go through all these layers, but every once in a while it got pretty thick. And so I'm just tacking down all the, get out of the way. See, I should have just cut that off right there. But so we're going to sew all the buttons on. Did you guys do this challenge? Who did the button challenge? See, people, I've been watching how people did the button challenge, and oh, you guys, you have to, okay, type in hashtag 52 tags hand, HANNE, made, and check out all the work. Now, normal people who are just here to enjoy the craft and create something beautiful sewed a whole bunch of buttons to a piece of fabric and called it good, because they're smarter than I am. I have to take a very simple freeform challenge and turn it into a production. Yeah, but I had a lot of fun. But you do have to check out the hashtags. Do it on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook, because ooh la la, this one lady used these antique metal bettles. What's a bettle? Bettle, not even close. Button, metal buttons. And yeah, I was drooling because they were gorgeous. The difference in everybody's buttons. I cannot believe how many different kinds of buttons. This was a fail. Whoops. Luckily it came out. I was panicking. How many different buttons there are out there is crazy. I haven't seen anybody use the buttons that are like, gosh, do you remember those buttons? They're like they're a shape on the front with a little round thing underneath. I can't think. Maybe they have, and I just haven't noticed what they are. And I don't know if I had any of those, but I was determined to use these Prima buttons that I got from Peachy Cheap. And so I did. But yeah, everybody has got, this challenge, friends, oh my gosh, I've met so many new people. And by the way, you can skip ahead here if you don't want to listen to me ramble, because all I'm going to do is ramble while I sew these on. And yeah, you're welcome. But it's just been the different colors and the different styles, and people have put stories with their buttons. Like some of them were their grandmothers or their great grandmothers, or they found them out thrifting with their best friend, or just the stories it tells. It's like all of these tags that I use this quilt on, every one of these tags that has that quilting material on it brings back a story that I went and I found this quilt and I took it apart, and I'm making really bad knots here. They're French knots that are just ugly, but shh, don't tell anybody. But I really enjoy the stories, and that everybody had, boy, it's really hard to find that hole. Anyway, that people are telling with their tags as they do this process, and it speaks to me, because I'm all about the keeping memories and stuff, and I don't really care how you keep the memories. I think you just need to keep the memories. Just keep the memories. You just got to keep the memories, because if you don't, who will? And if you don't, they're gone. And you forget so much, don't you? I mean, it's like, oh, I'll remember that forever, ever. And no, you don't. You don't remember. Anyways, I'm about to wrap up this voice message. Wow. I don't think my phone could hold that. I don't know. I don't use my phone. I don't talk on my phone at all. Random squirrel there. I'm going to sew these butterflies on. And all that I did was wrap the string around a bazillion times and then pulled it up, tied a knot in the back, pulled it up through the top, and left little bits on the end so that it looked like antenna. I thought it was cool. All right, you guys, we are headed into the wrap up. I so appreciate you listening to me ramble for 30 minutes. I hope you got some crafting done, had several cups of coffee, and I will be back with the wrap up here in 3, 2, 1. See you in a little bit. Bye. made it to the end. I wasn't sure for a while there. I may have gotten just a wee too much put on this tag, but I really do like how it turned out. It's a bevy, don't you think? Lots of buttons. I always have to make everything so complicated. But I do like how it turned out. I like the I got to do a whole bunch of things that I haven't done and that were unnecessary because you can't see, like making the quilt backing. you can't see any of it. That was just stupid. But it was fun to do, so I guess it's not totally stupid. But so I did, as you can tell, there's the quilting, but you've seen it. I got all the buttons and everything sewed on. I did have fun making the flower buttons. I couldn't decide whether this was like the biggest flower, right? Because I did add a stem. I thought it also could be the sun, but my husband had the best idea. He said it's a sunflower, so compromise. But I got to use some vintage lace, and I got to use some of the Prima buttons I got from Peachy Cheap, and I did some random different sewing stitches, probably with no names because I made them up. I think my favorite part, though, is, I don't know if you can tell, and you can tell in the photos, but the butterflies, I went and made a little antenna out of the string after I've sewn, I wrapped it around and then left the ends poking out so it looks like little antenna. And then I didn't like this hole that for some reason I ended up with, and I didn't have any tiny wood buttons, so I dug out a little heart charm that says handmade with love, or made with love. Doesn't really matter. So then I was taking pictures of it. I'm like, something doesn't look right. And so I added a little of the ribbon at the bottom of the bouquet. But I think it came out pretty much like my plan at the beginning of the video. Yeah, so I had a blast. But anyways, I think that it turned out, I like it. It looks like a hot mess, but I like it. I did a whole bunch of things that I had never done before with the quilting and the sewing of the buttons. I have made flower buttons before, but oh my gosh, it's been 20 years, But yeah, I think it turned out great. And so basically the back of the tag says, I'm dedicating this tag to all the lovely people I have met so far on this 52 tags handmade journey adventure. So much kindness, creativity, giving, inspiration, joy, and so much more is what I have found in them all. Old hands at it, helping newbies as we learn the ropes, newbies bringing fresh ideas and inspiration to the old hands, and friendships, so much friendships. Their stories, their tags tell in looks, quotes, and tales. Also very different, yet still the same. I can't wait to see who I will meet next. Here's to new friends. And I don't know if you can see it, but at the bottom, my little words here say Garden of Friends. Thank you so much for watching and following along on my little sewing adventures here. I'm having the best time meeting you all. If you're doing the challenge, please leave your info down below, because I would really, really like to follow you and see how your tags are turning out. Even if you're not doing it, and you're out there and you're watching, leave me a comment. I don't, politely, I don't care what it says, but I'd like to follow you. If you're just doing paper crafting, if you're just doing needlework, whatever you're doing, I don't care. Let's be friends. My garden always has room for a new veggie. So come join us. I will see you guys in the next video. I just cannot wait to do whatever Anne brings us next Friday. And I am off to catch up my fauxbonichi because I'm behind again, as always. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.